Hello my lovelies, this is Madam Celeste, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. Now, I told y'all on my welcome back, or when I returned back from my absence, that I didn't know exactly 100% what all was going to be on the channel. I previously hinted towards some passions that I had, and I was a little fearful to kind of mention them at first, mainly because I didn't want to traffic people to the channel just because of mentioning things. And then I realized that's kind of stupid. Why should I be fearful of that? I should be doing anything in my power to want to bring people to the channel, and if it seems to be something I love, then so be it. Today I am doing a book review, and it's not going to be like, oh, we're going to go do a big essay, or we're going to go read off. When I say what it's about, and I was kind of, most likely, I haven't figured out what I'm going to name the YouTube video, but I have a feeling that I'm kind of vague about it. Probably not. Five Nights at Freddy's. I last night bought the newest book. Now, I've been anxiously waiting for this book since I first found out it was coming out. And it wasn't until last night that I finally was able to get a hold of the gift card that I initially had set aside for it, and that was just a whole bunch of other stuff on top of it to finally get a hold of the book. And exhausted or not, as soon as I purchased it, I loaded up my video and made sure it was posted and clutched my iPad and went to bed with it, because probably was a bad idea, because that would explain the dreams I had last night. But those who know me can attest that I love Five Nights at Freddy's. Have I ever played the games? No, I haven't. But I have watched a ton of games. Now, that's probably, there's probably people out there that's like, well, if you're not a true fan, you've never played the games. I've never played the games because I'm afraid to. Because I've seen what just talking about it has done to me. Now, that's a fear I'm probably going to overcome, and at some time I'm probably going to play on the channel. I just feel that right now, with the setup I have right now, I don't want to do it this early on. I also want to work on my reaction times, but I love Five Nights at Freddy's. You can ask my family, who has probably heard so many theories. They're sick of just hearing FNAF or Freddy or any of that ever, because I have been theorizing since I first discovered it, which is funny because for some reason the things that I love most in my life, the things I'm obsessed with, Harry Potter, Final Fantasy, Five Nights at Freddy's, I didn't like at first. I didn't want anything to do with at first. I was just like, oh, this is stupid. Why would I want anything to do with this? And then somebody came along and like, hey, seriously, come on. Look past that. Give it a chance for me. And I was like, sure, why not? Five Nights at Freddy's, it just happened to be my group. And we were all watching the videos together. And the reason I thought it was stupid is I saw the static of you're just sitting there in one spot trying to avoid a death, which to me is stupid. Storyline is very, extremely important for me in any game. If there's no story, why would I want anything to do with it? It has no interest to me whatsoever if there's not a good story. I have to feel involved. And then, let's see, it was the first one, and by the time I got into it, the third game had already come out. And the more we binged watched, so we pretty much, I think, got all the way up to the third game that night. And the more I watched, the more intrigued I got, and the more I theorized. And let's see, that was about 2 years ago now, and I've been hooked ever since. Maybe it's, I honestly don't remember when. I just know that I have been hooked ever since, and my office was decorated in Five Nights at Freddy's. I had an entire wall, but we are currently moving, so I can't show that to you. But when I get to the new office, I will show that to you, so it's not just me saying that. The reason I'm doing this is I am absolutely fascinated with the whole series, and I cannot tell you how many times I've gone off on a rant because I went back to watch the videos, or I went to go watch theory videos, or even went to go listen to fan music. My favorite one, by Living Tombstone, every one of their songs, I listen to them all the time, and every time I start singing, I start really listening to the words, and for some reason, it just starts triggering little puzzle pieces to start landing around, and I'm like, oh, well, here I go again. Start ranting and raving, and Scott Cawthon, gotta give it to you. You created a whole generation of people sitting here trying to piece together this thing that you put together, and that leads me to Twisted Ones. Now, the reason why I actually decided to do a book review is because I think my family is tired of hearing me theorize. I think, honestly, even my boyfriend is tired of hearing me theorize, because I think he's starting to give me that smile where, I'm listening to you, but I'm not really listening to you, because I talk about it that much. I have the PJs, I have the plushies, I do paintings, I do drawings. Not good, so don't ask. It's just for my own benefit, for my own stuff. Well, you might see them when I show off the office, but it's not for anything but myself. But sorry, I get sidetracked a lot. Y'all are going to see that the more excited I get, and that should tell you something alone. In Alice Mare, you notice the more the videos went on, the quieter I got, and the more I pulled back, and I was more mumbling to myself, which, yes, I did notice that. And I did write a whole bunch of notes of things I need to work on. If I'm this excited, I must really be into it. I finished the book today because I couldn't put it down. In between everything else I had to do, I kept picking it up and I couldn't get enough. And there was one point where I had to stop. Because, again, the reason why I haven't played the games is there was a part, I think, in Chapter 6 where I was shaking. I was shaking so bad. I wanted to read more, but I was terrified by what I was reading. And it was more the details. It wasn't necessarily what was going on. And the aspect, I love the supernatural, I love horror, but as I was saying in Alice Mare, I'm a big crybaby chicken when it comes to this stuff. After the horror movie's all over and done with, all the lights need to be on. I probably need to watch Disney movie, something, cuddle with me, nightlight. I just don't like dark rooms, and that's probably because I've been watching horror movies from as far back as I can remember. That would be my family's fault. But I can't get enough of them. I just really can't, and Five Nights at Freddy's is one of them, and it's to the point where it's in the middle of the day, which usually I don't get bothered at all, and I can start theorizing, just sitting there theorizing and talking about it with someone, and then I start getting spooked by shadows, and we do have a long hallway. We're only on one end, we have a light, so I'm like making a mad dash to turn on that light, because I don't like walking through those shadows, especially when we're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, we're talking about the supernatural, which is something I do care a lot about or love and fascinate over. And we're talking about murders and mysteries and puzzle pieces and things that, honestly, I'm starting to wonder if we're ever going to 100% understand. Again, taking me back to the book. Scott, my full-on attention to this book, my full-on review, like overall, in theory, if I didn't know what Five Nights at Freddy's was, if I had just picked this book up, not ever looked at the games, and was just normal horror connoisseur like I was before, I would have finished the book, but I probably never would have picked up another one. I would have been frustrated. But knowing how much of a troll you are and how much you like to be cryptic and perplexing, it actually fits you. And this is exactly, the book delivered exactly kind of what I was expecting. Although, I'm not going to lie, I did have a good 30-minute rage thing where I couldn't speak. And I think I was turning red, and I was, like, sitting there, my fists were all tightened up, and I'm sitting there trying to breathe, and then finally I just let out this roaring frustrated scream because why can't we just get one thing from you where we have more answers than we have questions? Because this is what I came out of it. This was my answers. This was my questions. And the answers I got was the answers that I thought I already had. And I was wrong. I was so dead wrong. It was just, it was just honestly great. It's great in the aspect of what you have created for you. It works. It works for what Five Nights at Freddy's is. If it was anybody else, it wouldn't. It wouldn't go there. Because Cryptic is Five Nights at Freddy's. This works out well. But this is why, unless I see it in solid gold somewhere, and I probably shouldn't chose that word, but unless I see it in solid, bold, forgot my word, evidence, 100% for sure fact in front of me from something directly from Scott. The games, the books, the movie that I'm hoping will eventually start coming out because I've been anxious about seeing that. I'm not going to take it in 100%. We can theorize all day. And trust me, I'm sitting there constantly battling with myself all day long. But at the same time, I really should not need a notebook when I'm reading somebody's book. Just so I can keep track of information. And if you're wondering, yes, this was information about what was going on. I should have said this at the beginning. If you don't want me to reveal anything, then stop right here, because now what I'm about to do is talk a little bit more in depth to the book. I might theorize a little bit, but it's only going to be from stuff with the book. If there's anything connected to the games, it's just because it's direct links to the book and direct evidence I got from the book. I'm not going to go anything off of that. So if you don't want to know, you can stop now and I won't take offense. Those who are still with me, the first thing that is bothering me, because again, Scott hates giving us anything. Remember how I said just a couple seconds or minutes ago that he gave me answers to things I thought I already had answers to. I think by now we already know who the purple guy is. And again, I'm not going into the game aspect. I'm talking about the book. But it does talk about it. Not directly. Like, it's not like, oh, hey, I'm the purple guy. None of that. But we do have a moment that is very similar towards the ending. I'm not going to give direct pages. I'm not going to give direct links. I'm not even going to give you direct quotes. Because honestly, I think you should read it for yourself if you're a diehard FNAF fan. Sorry, tongue-tied. But that's just because I love books. But I can't hold back. And I really, I need to talk about this. In the end, we have William Afton show up. Now, when he shows up in the spring trap suit, Golden Bonnie, or as referred to in the book, the Yellow Rabbit suit. It is not referred to as Golden Bonnie. It is referred to as the Yellow Rabbit suit. The only time that the main character ever refers to anything being Bonnie is the original Bonnie, and then there's a nightmarish Bonnie, is actually sister location Bonnie, which I know we never saw. It would be the same size as Funtime Foxy and Funtime Freddy. I'll get into that in a second. But it is the same animatronic. These twisted ones are the same ones. Now you're probably wondering why. But they're also the same animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. No, you don't come and start attacking and be like, oh, how can that be possible? It actually explains it. It tells you directly this is why it happens. It gives you in full definition detail with scientific facts even. So it's not me coming in with a theory. The book tells you, okay? This This isn't me coming in with a theory. Anyways, William Afton comes in and he looks at you, or looks at Charlie, the main character, who is Henry's daughter. William Afton's partner, who opened Freddy Fazbear and is the creator of the Freddy animatronics, the original ones. William Afton is not the creator. Henry is. William Afton is the creator of the ones from Sister Location. Are we with me so far? And again, the book even explains that one. Charlie is Henry's daughter. Henry does kill himself, and it's because he feels guilty for helping, or it doesn't actually say that one, that one's kind of a theory, but he does kill himself for guilt. And the reason we feel that is at some point Charlie is looking, because she's in a robotics major, so she can start recognizing things, and she explains it in a detail that if you're a writer you can understand. If you if somebody took your favorite book and then other books and tore it up in different pages, not tore up into shreds, but tore pages out, and then just threw them all over the floor, and then made you go in there and pick it out, do you think you would be able to tell the difference between your favorite authors and the difference? A big chance. 90% out of that, you are more than likely to be able to tell the difference between your favorite author styles compared to the others. Well, that's the same way with robotics. You can see the artistry behind it, and it's pretty much with everything. And she was explaining when she had a piece of Funtime Foxy. I don't know if it's actually Funtime Foxy, but it's a piece of a character like Funtime Foxy, that there's pieces in there that are like what is used in her father's creations, that are antique, but there are things in there that her father would not use. That part is where William Afton comes in. That's where things get better, because her father, this book takes place in the 1990s, so anything that he did would be the older style animatronics. It's archaic, especially compared to what we have now. And whatever William Afton added into it was more up-to-date version. It would work better. It's more skilled and it does more. And as we can see, it has more functions and a lot more precise and deadly. And yes, it does serve the purpose that everyone thought about the box inside where it kidnaps people, only it's not just meant to kidnap small children. It is actually big enough to kidnap and kill a full-size adult, because in the book 4, 5, because Charlie was abducted but she wasn't killed. The fourth victim was abducted, wasn't killed, but almost was hospitalized. 3 adults, college students, adult size, was kidnapped by these animatronics, had spring-like mechanisms in their stomachs that killed them, and they immediately deposited them in a field. This isn't a building. They're out and about in the world trying to find Charlie. Going back to why they're trying to find Charlie and I know I went off for a reason. It's just my mind doesn't keep track of everything 100%. I think of something and I need to go back to it. So going back to the answers to what I thought I had already had, we get the discovery of who Springtrap is. 100%. We know. The scene that we see at the end of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where purple guy goes into the yellow bunny suit and bleeds to death. He doesn't bleed to death. That is William Afton, but he doesn't bleed to death. He's still alive. He survives it. And the reason we know this is in book 1, he comes out horribly scarred from it. At the end of the book 1, Charlie enables the spring lock suit, because he's still wearing that suit when he's trying to kill them all, and she enables that suit and it comes out again, and she manages to successfully, or theoretically, kill him when I say theoretically, because in this book, there was, in the place where he was bleeding to death, there was fake movie blood found where he should have been bleeding to death. So either he's entered purple guy, or I don't know, that one wasn't very clear. But we know it's William Afton. Regardless, it's William Afton. 100%. William Afton. Portrays himself as Dave. They think he's dead. Well, when Charlie finds out, costume blood, and now all these murders are happening, don't tell me he's back, don't tell me he's back. So she goes back with her friend Jess, back to the original Five Nights at Freddy's location from 1, the first game, which now at this time is actually being torn down like it was supposed to be before the first one, but what originally happened is they basically entombed the Five Nights at Freddy's location in a mall, and it was just being guarded by Dave, the security guard, aka William Afton. And when they went in and all that good stuff, everything was pulled out. Freddy, Foxy, Chica, and Bonnie, the originals, were gone, and everything had been gutted except for 2 things were left behind, because a storm had blown in and it prevented them to complete the demolishing, and they just never got back to it. The stage was still intact, but there was a control thing under the stage that all the computers had been gutted out of it. And then behind the stage, or stage-like area, there was Pirate Cove. The curtain of Pirate Cove was left behind. Now, I'm not sure why that was so important that he said that. And honestly, I thought there was something hidden under there, but it just turned out to be nothing. But it led them, I guess it was just more of a leading them to go look at it. When they got back there, they noticed there were scratches all over the floor. And it led to behind the stage, where there was this little hidden storage door. And it was locked. They had to finagle it a little bit, and they opened it up, and out falls Dave, William Afton, still in the yellow bunny suit as a corpse. So that's their confirmation that Dave/William Afton is dead. And she's like, okay, then who's doing this? What all is going on? Well, later on, she gets swallowed up and kidnapped by Freddy and taken to a FNAF 2-like location. I say like because some things were like it, and then there are some parts that just, I don't know why they were thrown in there, but they were thrown in there and it was off. It was just beyond off. But they were there. And when she's there, she gets fed up. She escapes out of the body by carefully removing, because again, there's spring lock things in there, as we saw in a sister location where baby's like, be careful, don't breathe, just, keep still. Well, she carefully pulled herself out and then was able to open up the stomach, got out, and dug up because they were buried, and found herself at this location, was still getting attacked by these things. And her friends come in, they found her, and she's like, how did you find me? Not even gonna touch that one. I don't even want to touch that one. If you want to find out, go read the book. Honestly, it's interesting. I'm not gonna touch that one because that's a whole can of worms. It has nothing to do with the games. It has nothing to do with any other theories. Other than proving that yes, children did possess Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, and Freddy, and they're only after the purple guy. That's the only thing it proves, 100%. Other than that, it's got nothing else, and I'd really rather not touch that one, because that just brought up a whole bunch of other questions that never got answered, and I don't want to open those can of worms because I don't want to be thinking about those questions. And in fact, right now, I keep going on about it because I'm trying to push them away. So we have all that going on, and I know I'm going on forever, but I'm still revealing things. I know. This is why this is not a theory channel. This is why I sit on games, because I'm focused on the game and I tend to stay on what is right in front of me. She looks over to the wolf character, and I think the Bonnie character, we're going to say Nightmare Bonnie, because that's kind of how they refer to them as. So again, they are both Nightmare and Sister Location. You need to remember that they are both of them, and there is a reason that is, and I'll explain that in a second. I just don't want to get too sidetracked. And she starts screaming, "Why are you after me? Why do you want me? You finally stopped attacking everyone. You went to where you were supposed to. Why did you bring me here? What's going on?" And they don't answer. They're just kind of staring at her, and she keeps screaming at them. And police officer that is there with them, her friend's father, is got her in like this, and he's like, "Come on, we need to go. Just stop trying to rationalize with a robot and let's go." And before they can all move, they all hear a voice that makes them freeze. Guess who it was? Dave / William Afton. We're just going to refer to him as Dave for like the next 5 seconds, and this is why. He comes in and he says, "They don't give two craps about you." That's not a direct quote. I'm just paraphrasing. "I asked them to bring you here. I made them bring you here. I want you here." Never got an answer to why. He never explained. Not 100%. And she's like, "But why? Why am I here? What's going on?" And he states, no, she says Dave, and he said no, wrong. And she's like, "Okay, fine, whatever. William Afton?" He said, "Nope, wrong again. That's who I used to be. My name is Springtrap." Clear as day, 100% in text. You don't believe me? Go buy the book in Amazon or on the Kindle. That's how I have it, so I'll never lose it. Directly tells you, "I, William Afton, am Springtrap." There you go, guys. We finally know who Springtrap is. I mean, and we finally know 100% who the purple guy is. Thanks for finally giving that to us in a black and white. Took a long time for that to come through. The only reason why we never could, I mean, for me, it was kind of already an answer because the purple guy. We knew that it was the purple guy, and that was enough of an answer for me. Just beyond that, I was just trying to find out who the purple guy was. So, regardless, I knew Springtrap was the purple guy. So, no longer was I worried about who is the purple guy. I know everyone else is like, "Oh, well, purple guy is Springtrap, so who is Springtrap?" And I'm just like, well, we know it's the purple guy, so who's the purple guy? And my mind never went back, so who are these two people, even though they're the same one? It was just one answer is I'd already gotten the question answered. Let's shove that way and focus on this one. And we got that answer almost immediately. So that was our black and white. Now going back to where I said that they're both the Sister Location and the Nightmare animatronics. Those are not nightmares as in like from dreams. There's this device that Charlie explains. There's a point where when they run across the very first one, which is a Foxy one that is kind of destroyed, tries to kill or not attack or kill, but tries to kidnap Charlie, but doesn't work because her friend John, or boyfriend John, was there and manages to dislocate the head off of it, even though this thing is like 8 feet long. I mean, again, they're the Sister Location because the 8 feet, and it's got the same center part, the plastic skin. Now, why does it be the Nightmare? There's two things that's important to that aspect. And it also brings up 4, 3, and actually almost it brings up everything from every game all the way to the beginning, or it could. But it triggers a lot of things that can go from 3 and stuff that happened in 4. It makes you think back to what all happened. Not necessarily are they the nightmare animatronics. The nightmare animatronics aren't necessarily nightmares. This device that she dislocates is a mind-controlling disc. It's this small disc that's attached to basically a mechanism that controls the entire thing. And it creates this thing that fills your mind's senses. It fills in every void and overwhelms your mind, and it makes it believe it sees whatever it's supposed to see. So, for instance, if you were a child that was attacked by one of these things, you would see them for what they are: nightmares, monsters. Does that answer something? That being said, the reason she found this out is when Foxy came to life. First, it looked just like the sister location, just flat and void. But when it started coming to life, it started to look like everything was moving at once. And she got this kind of nauseous feeling in her stomach. And both her and John reacted to it differently. She heard this high-pitched squeal, and John immediately just buckled over and was like, he felt like he was smelling a decomposing body that wasn't even there. And anytime they saw them, they saw these hideous, nasty, sharp-toothed, red-eyed creatures. Sound familiar? The reason that these were created was to lure children in, to make them come closer. Does that sound familiar? It is a scientific thing that if your mind is overwhelmed, it'll automatically start filling in the blanks of what your mind thinks it's supposed to see in this given situation. Because honestly, you're constantly overstimulated. So if you're even further overstimulated and faced with something that you don't know how to understand, your mind just automatically starts processing things the way they think they need to. And every person will encounter that situation differently. Now, why does that bring in things from 3 and 2 and 1? Well, do you remember the It's Me Golden Freddy pop-up from 1? How about the Phantom stuff popping up? Now, how could that happen if they're only located in these ones created by Afton? Well, in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 location, they're located also in the light bulbs. It doesn't have to be connected directly with a robot. It just causes you to have an illusion. And when she was in Five Nights at Freddy's, she was faced with Balloon Boy, which was not created by her father. Balloon Boy was created by William Afton. And she saw the Balloon Boy we saw from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Except like a bunch of them once going at her, and multiple ones saying hello over and over and over again, trying to attack her. And it made it look like there was an actual child going after her. Multiple children, anyways. And then when the cops came in, the cop came in with her 2 friends and saved her, they shot out the light bulbs. All they were these little toys knocked over and immediately were destroyed as soon as you kicked them over. They were that fragile. It was how bad those things can control your mind to make you see anything. And just wouldn't stop you from seeing what you thought was necessary. So that goes into, and then number 3, what do we see a lot? We see phantom images. Well, in the end, Charlie goes chasing after Springtrap. And while she's doing that, she keeps facing things that are chasing after her. And one of those things is, again, Balloon Boy. But as she keeps running, she just runs right through him. Just runs right through him like he was never there. Sound familiar? Like the Phantoms? I don't know 100% how to take on what we know from Sister Location to what I know from Twisted Ones as well, because let's face it, we may have 5 games, 2 books, 2 more on the way, but we don't have all the answers because Scott is awesome. Technically 6 games if you want to count FNAF World, which I will, because it does share a little bit of information about Henry. Vital information about Henry. Very, very vital, which probably nobody took seriously at all when they found out about it. Going off the theories, all that. Would I read these books again? Yes, because I have them both. Am I getting the next books? Yes. Why? Because I'm a FNAF friend. I'm a fan. Am I going to play the games on the channel? Probably. Anytime soon? No. I'm going to wait to upgrade a little bit, get the setup a little better, get my reactions a little better, because I really would hate to destroy what could be great videos by sitting there and mumbling to myself. I also want to make sure that I don't give myself a mini heart attack, because honestly that could be something that isn't good for me, not because of a mini heart attack at all, and I'm not going to go into that. Those who know me will understand. Those who don't, you will find out in later events. I just don't think that's something I'm ready to share with the world just quite yet. I hope y'all enjoyed my ramblings. I hope it made sense to you. The last thing I'm going to say, the ending of the book, I'm not happy with. And that's the reason I'm going to end up rereading these books. And it's going to make me go back to probably the very beginning of Five Nights at Freddy's. And it makes me want to personally play the game so I can personally hash out the game, the stories and all that. But one of the reasons I like watching the videos so much is I can focus on the story and can just pause it and not have to worry about the threat of dying constantly. And be able to focus 100% on the story, because again, that's all I care about. I don't know how to take the ending. The ending ended up being, we thought, Charlie is killed because she gets recaptured by Freddy while they're escaping. And while John and her friend Jess and Clay or the cop Clay are trying to help her escape out of Freddy's stomach, they inadvertently cause the spring locks to open. And all of a sudden, blood just starts pouring out. Next thing we know, there's something mentioned about a woman with black hair. She pulls Clay in. There's nothing else on that. Thanks for that, Scott. I'm glad I get to have another book before I get to find out any information, if that. And then we have the gang sitting in a diner with a guy who had a crush on Charlie. all sitting there mourning her, and then they all look outside, and out comes this kind of girly Charlie. Charlie was not girly at all. She typically stuck with jeans and boots and t-shirts. She didn't really show the allure of a girly person. She didn't show much attention to her looks. Her hair was short, and she focused more on her work, her schooling. She's one of those people that wanted to make sure that she put all of her attention into her work, whether other people accepted it or not. And other people did. Jess and John both honestly felt like her creations were creepy and almost like what William Afton was creating, which terrified them. And she always thought that they assumed that she was just following in her father's footsteps, and she hated that kind of rejection. Because she was building her own robots. Nothing full functional like Foxy or Freddy, but what she had was like these two little robots sitting on a circuit board that would turn to each other and respond to each other. And anytime she showed it, just nobody reacted the way she wanted to. Nobody did. And when you finally got to look into the brain of the person she showed it to, it wasn't something you'd expect. They were creeped out about it. They were freaked out. They were questioning it, but they were trying not to question their friend. But the boyfriend delved deeper. Why did you make something that was very similar to what Dave created? Why? It's creepy. Why would you do something like that? Before she even saw what Dave created. Because she started making those long before she ever got to see what Dave created. So why would that happen? Anyways, this girl, jeans, boot, t-shirt girl, only wore nice clothes to her dates to John, and even that one of them she showed up in with dirt all over her after leaving a crime scene. She didn't even think about going and taking a shower. That's how much her girly looks was in the back of her mind. You have a date she was 2 hours late to. It was that far in her mind. That's how much she cared about the date, that she was 2 hours late to it. She didn't take a shower, she didn't get cleaned up, she didn't change her clothes, she didn't put on makeup, didn't put on nice jewelry. She didn't show any affection to this guy whatsoever. And yet he was patient and understanding, and he told her he loved her, and she stopped what she was doing, but she didn't react much beyond stopping what she was doing. She didn't say it back to him other than on her moments of death. She was holding his hand and she said, "Don't let me go, don't let me go, don't let me go." And he did, because he was trying to get her out. And, well, we know the grim details. Well, when they see her come out of the car, she's in this bright red dress and she's got long brown hair. A girl who has had short brown hair. Everyone starts running out and like, "Oh, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie." And automatically John looks at and he's like, "That's not Charlie. That's not Charlie." And of course he would know. He's in love with her. That's how it ended. Right there at that point. No other information. Just everyone's running out to this Charlie-like person who's now all of a sudden feminine. And John saying that's not Charlie. Which I have to agree with him. I thought she was going to end up being like maybe the aunt figure or somebody else that was meeting up to come memorialize Charlie. I was not expecting Charlie to show up at all. So that's my reactions on this. There's probably more I could do, but I have no idea how long this video goes on for. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm boring anyone out there or not. Before I do go, I do want to let y'all know that, like I said earlier, I am taking notes when I'm editing. I did Alice Mare all in one go. And I did find out that there was an extra ending, and I do want to go back and do it, but I have to start the game all over again. That does not make me not want to go do it. I want to take a break and come back to it later with a fresh mind, more energy, and everything else. There's other games I've been trying to record, but for some reason my recorder has been giving me issues with recording certain games. But I'm not giving up. I'm still doing stuff for the channel, obviously. I still want to keep doing stuff. Anybody has suggestions, anything y'all want to see, anything you want to see me do a little bit better, come on, go ahead, tell me. I can take it. I'm a writer. Come on, just be constructive about it. I can handle. I promise I will be doing everything in my power to work a little better. I have been trying to work a little bit better on my outro ending. It's not going to show yet because I'm not exactly happy with what I have up, but I'm satisfied enough that I can handle that being there while I perfect the one I want to go up there for the time being. And then maybe those who are starting to come to the channel more often can see what I'm starting to do to it. I don't think anyone can have it even a chance to know. I do know this though. I do have huge plans, all involving things I love, because why would I not include things that I am absolutely passionate about? Because this is probably the most excited you have seen me about on any of my videos. And that alone makes me want to go into the game, but I have a feeling that those gameplay things is going to be me more sitting there and stopping at the end of everything and see like, oh my god, look at that, see, this is why I thought this and this is why I thought that, and maybe that one was wrong. And I'm not against saying I'm wrong. I can fully accept it. At this point, come on, Scott, can we please get some answers? Oh, and your cancellation thing, really, you have 50% of us believing you and 50% of us not. I'm sitting here on the brink of I don't know what to believe, because you've said this before. That doesn't mean that you wouldn't. It doesn't mean you haven't delayed the game. It doesn't mean that it's a permanent thing. You did say FNAF is continuing, which seems kind of odd to me. If you wanted to go with the games, why would you do that after you just released a book and you're about to release 2 others? You're about to release a movie, or you're working on a movie, and you have so much planned for the franchise, so why wouldn't you continue with the games? And then seriously, you do your update with saying, would I ever troll your guys? That's the only thing in this world that would make us disbelieve you even more, because you did a whole game trolling us just to tease us for frickin' sister location. Come on, get with the program. It's probably a point in time to stop playing the I'm gonna cancel game. Maybe you do need a break. Maybe it is getting a little bit too much. Maybe you do need to expand. Whatever it is you feel you need to do. Maybe you do want to just focus on books and the movies, and maybe it is right now just a little bit overwhelming. That I can understand. But if this in the end turns out to be that you're just trolling, could this be the last time that you do it, please? Because it's getting kind of tiring. We're getting to the point where if you say it again, we couldn't believe you. So that being said, I'm going to finally stop the Five Nights at Freddy's rant number 1. And I guess this turned into less of a review and more of a rant. And that's pretty much all my Five Nights at Freddy's anything's going to happen. I'm probably anything related is going to review any of the games, movies, any of that. No, that does not mean I'm going to become a reviewer. But things I'm fascinated with, yeah, I'll go there. I'll review them. And maybe I might actually include some more stuff in than me just sitting there and shouting at the camera and the mic. And I do hope y'all enjoyed this. As for now, good night, my lovelies. Bye.